Going live. We have, what's it, 5:11? We're a minute late, Dylan.
Oh,
A minute
Jesus.
late.
What are
And
we?
I also want to point out something. So I passed out earlier today, just kind of blacked out completely, woke up, and I had an RE27 in the front seat of my vehicle. No idea where it came from, so I guess I'll just keep it.
Well, I mean, if it just shows up, I mean, what
Yeah,
else are you going to do?
right? I mean, this, no idea whose this was, so I guess it's mine now. That's what I'm using for the stream, Dylan.
I mean, hey, I do it if I find, unopened cutlery at the food court. So,
Looks like that's mine too. How's everyone doing? This is Dylan's RE27. Just messing with the guy. You son of a bitch. Dylan's not using an RE27
no.
today. Actually, we can have a game. Guess the microphone. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, I hear that some blue hair dyes cause people to pass out. Yeah, it happens, and it's almost out of the beard now. Almost out. All right, so I'm going to put up a poll. So we're going to start a poll. I'm going to just run this for a while. What mic is Dylan using? And so, Dylan, let's give them 4 options. So,
Okay. All right. So,
SM58 should be one. SM.
yeah,
58.
obviously.
All right. Second one, what? E835?
E835. The third one, I don't know, like maybe the 58's big brother. What the hell? The Beta 58.
All right. Beta 58A, right? Yeah, okay. And then one more. What
58B.
I think there was actually.
I always wonder about stuff like that. Like, I want to know the history. Maybe we should see if we can get someone from Shure on one of these live streams and just have like a history lesson in some of these mics.
See, I believe I did talk about that in the video where I compared the SM58 and the Beta 58A. What's the fourth option here? We need one more. SM58.
And okay, so they all have to be dynamics, and we'll explain that why in a second. But so I would say SM57.
Okay, yeah, SM57. Okay.
I mean, I feel like there's too many Shures. No, XM8500.
All right.
I mean, I think now they
know it's not going to be that one.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be that one.
All right, so let's put that in. Okay.
Somebody who comes in the live stream won't know.
We got a couple of questions here. Don't mind me. This mic is in the way of my second screen. I got my second screen up here. Evening Poseidon. Sean, how's she going, buddy? I hear that some blue hair dyes. Yeah, I got that. Beresford, I don't know if I asked this question before. Was the T-Bone review my fault? I don't know, Beresford. Somebody actually, I received probably about 4 or 5 requests for the T-Bone. And just today, he messaged me, he emailed me saying, hey, buddy, any update? Where's the video? Because they want the mic back, and I'm okay with that, as long as they pay for shipping. And I'm like, yeah, all done. You can arrange pickup. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye. I did not mention anything about the video. We'll see. Dylan might be clipping. Okay, let's turn Dylan down just a little bit there.
Clippy.
Yeah, you're fine. Blue Yeti.
Right.
It's not a Blue Yeti. Hey, guys, sounds like Dylan might be clipping. Yeah, Dylan sounds distorted. You should get the mic Aiden has. That's interesting.
And so the reason why the mic has to be a dynamic, or as I would say that it should be under the circumstances, is because the processor that the RE27 is plugged into, is a Wheatstone Vorsys M2 like radio mic processor. And so the problem is right now that this processor is 100% IP controlled. There are no controls at all, including a power switch. Well, actually, no, there's a power switch at the back, but there's nothing on the front. There's meters. No. That's it. And so to adjust the settings, you have to IP into it over Ethernet. And for whatever reason, I can't seem to get connected to it to reset the IP address. So
is it plugged in?
It's plugged in, obviously.
No, I meant the Ethernet. Is the Ethernet?
I meant is the unit plugged in? I'm like, wow. So, aka, I can't change the processing on this mic at the moment, and I don't really have the time to troubleshoot it properly.
Which, by the way, is why you do sound a little distorted. It's almost like the compression isn't quite right for the mic you've got. That's kind of what it sounds like.
It's possible. I'm just gonna listen in on myself for a second here. Check. Some of that I think is just I sound okay actually on my end. Like when I'm listening to myself talk, there's that brightness.
You sound limited as all hell. So when you get loud, the limiter kicks in.
Let's try that. Is that better?
That is better.
Good.
Sean says, "Have you tried
There's
turning it
two
off
gain
and on?"
stages going on here, so I dialed back to the second stage.
That's okay. So we got so far. We're gonna let this. This poll go for a little while there, and we'll fill you in at the end. So SM58 is 25%. E835 is at 62%. Beta is at 0, and XM8500 is at 12. Clearly, they didn't see us filling in the poll.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as I literally pulled that one out of my ass.
So yeah, I think that's the big thing. As you get louder, the limiting kicks in, and the limiting is so it's the limiter that's being applied to it.
So here's the tricky part: is what you're hearing is not the mic by itself, right? You're hearing the mic with a bunch of multiband compression and EQing that was intended for the RE27 with my voice. So you're hearing this mic through a filter. It's wearing a disguise right now. So you've got very little to go off of. I'm not surprised the XM8500 got a few because it sounds right now very shrill, like an XM8500 kind of does.
It does, yeah.
And so it's got that kind of vibe to it. Although normally this mic wouldn't sound.
No, the XM8500 is very dark. It's not shrill at all. It's got no top end.
Oh, I think I'm thinking of the XM1800.
Yeah, the 1800S. Oh, God.
Yeah.
I think Dylan and I are wearing the same headphones. Yeah, I think Dylan and I are wearing the same headphones, too.
I'm wearing the 840s.
Yeah, 840s.
Old Faithful.
So, by the way, I also, I'm not going to give away what microphones I got from them, but I also got this handy-dandy Lawton Audio coffee mug, which I don't know if I'm supposed to be testing it or not.
Pictures of those. Those look nice.
The mics? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So winner for best packaging of a microphone goes to Lawton Audio.
Yeah.
I got to say, man, the way the one box, it's magnetized front where you got to lift it open and it kind of reveals everything. It's so nice. And then the other one's like a hard shell carrying case for the other condenser. That's all I'm going to call it.
They package stuff like Apple packages stuff.
Kinda, but this is what you get with boutique microphones, man. This is the kind of stuff like hand tuned. So like they're taking a lot of the German engineering that you've seen in some microphones from past, Neumann stuff like that. Austrian, Neumann's German, right? Or they're Austrian? Austrian's
German.
German. Then Austrian's AKG. Yeah, okay. So they're taking a lot of that engineering and they're applying it. And they're based out of California. Lovely products so far. I haven't plugged a single one in, but my God, unpacking them was an experience to say the least. But I also got the coffee mug, and I'm wondering what kind of reviews I can do. Off-axis coffee mug doesn't really work.
Honestly, I'm not surprised though, because I mean, when you look at luxury microphones, and I call them luxury microphones because you know what that business kind of reminds me of? It reminds me of like luxury fashion.
Yeah.
Like kind of like when you buy, I don't know, like a Gucci or a Bottega anything. It's like the bag that you get it in has like a G for a handle.
Yeah.
And like there's like gold lining the box it comes in, and you're like,
yeah, it's an experience.
Exactly. And so I think luxury and obviously with microphones you also get high quality sometimes. Obviously with designer products you don't get that, but usually if you buy an expensive mic, so like a Neumann, the presentation, the delivery, like that's part of the experience. And so obviously Lawton, at the price point they're at, which is impressive, is kind of trying to go for that.
Yeah, the two mics I got, their price points are very affordable. The second condenser, not as affordable, but it's still well within range. It's nowhere near Neumann ranges. Sean says, oh, you guys are going to talk about luxury fashion. My shirt is from Mech. Mech's got some great fashion, man. I love Mech. All right, so the big thing. Oh, Richard says, hey, folks, how you doing, buddy? Sorry, I missed that. The big news this week is I know a lot of people talking about this. I noticed it earlier this week. A couple people have been bringing this up, saying, hey, man, all the mics sound the same. And I've been ignoring this. I've been ignoring a lot of these because you get them all the time. people unable to hear the difference between two different microphones usually is an untrained ear. And there's no shot at people when they have an untrained ear. It takes time to learn differences between. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. But I usually ignore it because most of the time it's like, all right, okay, that's fine. Move on. I'll like the comment. I'll just move on. But for some reason, I checked the NT1 video, and I talked about this last week on the live stream thinking it was my screw up. And I went back and I actually like cranked up the volume and I listened, and I really listened, and I watched for ways to be able to tell whether or not I was getting audio from that secondary mic source. And I found it because I bumped the XLR cable on the secondary mic source, meaning I was getting audio from that. So I wasn't. So I was listening to these mic comparisons that all sounded exactly the same, yet I could confirm that the secondary mic audio was in that video. So I didn't screw up and accidentally double up the same audio from the same channel. I had both. And I went back and I looked at some older videos. I looked at my video where I compared the MKH416 to the Rode NTG3. Two incredibly different sounding microphones. Like by a mile. There's no way. And because they're shotgun microphones, it's not like I was off axis a bit, for one. They were directly in front of me, pointed directly at my mouth, and you could tell as I switched between them which one was which just by the high end of the MKH416 and the definitive low end of the NTG3 and that kind of slight muddiness that it has. And the MKH416 has no muddiness. When you listen to the video, they sounded a lot closer than they did before. So I pulled up my old video that I actually had on file, the video that I actually uploaded to YouTube, and I sat down, listened, I could hear the difference. Watch it on YouTube, couldn't hear as much of a difference. And then I went to the gym last night and worked out, came home, went to go back to it, went to download the audio from the video, and I'm like, wait a second, I can hear the difference again. It's like the world opened up on my videos again. So I don't know what the hell's going on with YouTube, but this is something that a lot of people have been running into. Like Dylan, you were saying like this has been happening quite a bit and people are chatting about this, eh?
Yeah, I've been looking into it because I mean I don't like that. I don't like there's something that's kind of totalitarian about that I don't know. Google makes obviously lots of executive decisions that control the marketplace. So whatever, it's
that's one way to put it.
But every time I hear about like a new avenue of that, it creeps me the hell out. So anyway, that's how I'm kind of looking at it. So I was looking into it, and there are a good number, obviously, of audio content creators and larger tech. One or two tech channels that I found have already kind of made a video that at least mentions it, if not is about it.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, musicians. I've seen some stuff on Twitter. Musicians are coming out and saying, and I happen to be one of those. Who's coming out and saying, hey, like I'm going back and listening to songs from years ago and they sound different and they sound fine when I listen to them on my iPhone or on my Samsung, but they don't sound good when I'm listening to them on YouTube all of a sudden. And YouTube is telling me, oh, it's just my ears getting older. And I'm like, this is stupid.
By the way, guys, Sean just said, sing for us, Dylan, sing your heart out. I'm going to post Dylan's channel in the comments here. This is Dylan's YouTube channel. We don't talk about this. Considering the amount that we do live streams and we talk and you're part of this channel, literally we promote zero of your content.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is because I'm not definitely say not regular with the channel, but like I haven't posted something there in a while.
Yeah, but
I've just been having to bury myself into my work.
If it was monetized, that would change, no?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Well,
so
then it becomes then it makes money, then it's useful.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, hit up Dylan's channel if you like it. It's Dylan's music, basically.
This is not a ploy at
No,
all.
not at all.
Say that right now.
No.
This is just just being completely transparent. Like,
yeah,
there's a reason why I don't bring it up on the stream is because it's like it's kind of been put on ice for a hot minute. That's not to say it'll be on ice forever. It certainly won't. Certainly within the next year, if not sooner.
But there's
I'm
some
gonna have some
there's some
content.
awesome music on there. You got to work on your thumbnails. Well, I'll help you with that.
Oh, you saw some of those shots, did you?
Yeah, I'll help you on some of your thumbnails. I'm going over it right now. Like your cover of "Delicate" by Taylor Swift is fucking awesome. I love that.
That one was like 30 gigs of footage went into that. Like that was a crazy. And you know how long it took me to set up, shoot, edit, and release that? 2 days. 2 days. Everything for that song was done in 2 days.
Yeah.
I look at that now and I'm like, man, I wish I was still that efficient at things.
Beresford says you should edit your handle to remove the numbers at the end. They're right. You can do that in settings. So at Dylan Lalonde 5786, it should just be at D Lalonde or Dylan Lalonde or Lydian Studios.
Well, I think I was going to try to align everything to the business name, which is Dylan Lalonde Music, and every other social media platform is that. So
wouldn't Lydian Studios be better? By the way, that is the name of his studio.
Yeah, well, the name of the studio, right? Because studio is a separate business. The musician, that's like stuff that I'm writing. I'm using Lydian Studios to create the music, but as an artist, like my artist website is DylanLalonemusic.com.
Yeah,
my Instagram is Dylan Lalonde Music. Like my everything, other than Twitter wouldn't allow me to have all the letters for that, so I think it's like D Lalonde Music on Twitter or something. But I never tweet. I fucking hate Twitter.
Yeah, I tweet now. I'm a Twitterer.
Oh yeah, you're a tweeter.
Camille, by the way, we will get to your question. I just want to kind of finish off some of Dylan's thoughts here before we got sidetracked. So you noticed with some of your music that it's kind of getting a different treatment.
Well, so I went back and I listened to, I think it was a cover I did, Don't Blame Me, like really like a while ago, like 2018, 2017, somewhere around there. And I'm like, this sounds different. And then I'm like, am I going crazy? Did I have like, did somebody lace that cookie with something? Like what's going on? And then I'll go into my own hard drive because obviously I made the song. So you got to imagine I would have, a 1 or 2 offline versions of it. And I'm listening. I'm like, no, that's how I remember it. Yeah. And then I go on YouTube and I'm finding it's brighter and more shrill. And it feels like there's compression on the bass. Like there's not as much movement in the low end as there is in the actual mix that was used to put the video on YouTube. And it used to sound fine on YouTube, but just suddenly, like this past yesterday, I was listening to, it just on my phone over on these headphones. And I was like, that sounds off. Something about that just doesn't feel right. And then I start going through a couple other videos and I'm like, and even other artists who I know that posted stuff. I'm like, I'm going to go and look at some of your videos and see. And but then suddenly you're saying it's better now. And after we got off the phone, I checked and I'm like, now I compared the two back to back again. I'm like, now it's other than the compression, the file compression, which is, negligible. It's regular kind of MP3 compression. It sounded fine. Like it still sounded transparent. So I don't know if it was a test of something.
I don't. And you know what? Like I've reached out to YouTube Liaison multiple times. I've noticed him responding to a lot of other people, and I've reached out. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Yep.
I gotta reach out. I don't know. Like it was from some support channel because obviously there's a million ways you can go and get. Start a chat with whatever in YouTube. And the response I got was, it's probably your headphones.
Yeah, YouTube Liaison's an actual guy. And I will say YouTube support is AI. YouTube Liaison.
I could tell by the ridiculous answer to my question that I got, even though I fully qualified that that's not possible.
Yeah. I am an engineer of audio.
Well, not even that. Like, again, I'm not going to be that guy like, I am job title, listen to me. But like my whole thing was like, I'm listening to both versions on the same headphones.
Yeah.
So like I'm literally playing the file from OneDrive and then I'm playing the file from YouTube. I don't even take the headphones off. Like obviously it's not the headphones.
This is how system audio works, you son of a bitch. Yeah.
Well, and then the answer I got back to that was that headphones, Bluetooth headphones have different codec in them that can cause them to process audio from different apps differently. And I'm like, yes, that would make so much sense if it wasn't for the fact I am going through copper, you moron.
That's awesome. Well, so there is Sean is literally going through your audio and just loving it. By the way, Auld Lang Syne is beautiful. Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
Dylan rocks, man. Dylan's a fantastic musician.
I dabble.
Dude, yeah,
I'm
definitely
a
give some love.
dabbler.
Um, so I've been noticing. I know Bandrew's doing some testing. He's going to be ripping. I don't actually want to give it away just in case he's doing a video about it because I feel like that would be kind of rude. But he did say he's going to be doing some specific tests on the audio to see whether or not they come back different, which is going to be interesting because I mean this has been a conversation for years of the compression. Oh, the compression just destroys audio. No, it doesn't. It's relatively harmless compression for the most part, and it's evenly applied across everything. It seemed like an EQ that wasn't evenly applied across audio.
Yeah, I'm wondering almost if it was like some kind of multi-band normalization compressor that because I found that again, my low end of the song I was listening to it was almost like somebody put like a high ratio, low threshold compressor just on the bottom. Because it didn't have as much movement as it did when I fucking made it. And so so obviously but I was so mad though. I was so mad. Coming when I was going at that AI, I'm not gonna lie, I was being rude. I was being a bad boy. And I was being rude to the YouTube support AI. Because I'm like, I made it. I made it. How do you not think I would know what it sounds like? Because I made it.
Yeah. Also, telling okay, so I get it. Not everyone's an audio engineer that calls up YouTube support. But maybe just don't give a garbage answer like maybe your headphones need to be plugged in kind of deal. You know? I'm just maybe.
Yeah. Or again, when I mentioned that I'm on Sennheiser SRH 840s, again, my initial prompt was a paragraph. I gave them as much information as possible because that's what I do.
The AI doesn't like that.
No, they were asking questions that again they were redundant because the answer was in the prompt.
Yeah.
No, the algorithm or the codec of Bluetooth headphones doesn't apply to copper connected headphones. Also, yeah, I'm not taking the headphones on and off and putting other headphones on to listen to the two versions. I have two apps on my phone. Fun fact, phones can do that now.
Yep.
And I'm just listening in it in OneDrive. Off the WAV file on OneDrive, and then I'm listening to it in YouTube. And yes, obviously there is YouTube watery compression in the top end. That's what YouTube does. YouTube's always done that. That's fine. I don't care. However, I'm listening and I'm like, but the top end is louder now, and louder in a way that's not flattering. 3 to 5K, there's a bump.
Yeah.
And it's not the same for every song.
Yeah.
I went into I think it was Delicate, and it had like a 1K kind of a bump. It sounded boxy, really, really, really boxy, and compressed boxy. My breaths, and again, I am really anal about breaths in my performances, more so than I am about almost every other aspect. And they're punching me in the face, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then I went back and listened to the Don't Blame Me one. And I was still no, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing boxy about that. It's just the bass is compressed and low and the highs are pinched. So I don't know. It's weird.
It is weird. TechMed, cheers, brother. Thank you very much for that. I'm gonna stand back. I was gonna do a video about it for Monday, and I actually had a video drawn up. I wrote out a complete script. I was gonna do it, and then I noticed the audio was back, and I'm like, I am going to address it somehow. Well, the one thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting the audio on my website. Here, I actually put my website in there just in case anyone's that hardcore about it. darkcornerstudios.tech. And I will be putting the audio. Each video will have its own page like blog post, and then I'll have kind of a write-up of the video as well as the audio clips. And I'm going to record separate audio clips for those. I'm not just going to take audio from the videos because I don't actually mention in the video which mic I'm on. I usually just have a little tag up in the top that says which mic I'm going through. So I'll record separate audio just for that. And that way I can never be like, no one can say, hey man, they all sound the same. Well, just go to the website. You can actually hear the core audio. Sean, I was watching a live stream of the National Ballet of Canada Eric Brunn competition. The camera matching and audio quality was horrible, but they wouldn't accept I'm qualified to tell them. Yeah, I hate that. Drove me nuts, guy. I could hear the audio hits, knew the white balances on the camera were way off, and blocking and cutting was bad. I know TV for stage, and I know dance to a degree. Nice. Dan, let's build a system so you can simulcast your own high-quality audio channel synced alongside YouTube playback. I could technically do it with, syncing something up. That would be interesting. Like simulcasting on Discord or something. Oh, and we need to go back to Camille Backstein. Sorry, Camille. I didn't forget. NAB predictions, Blackmagic mics, aperture, etc. Now, Camille, you hit on an interesting point. By the way, Dylan, next April, we're going to Las Vegas. You know that, right?
What's going on with that?
Well, you know what NAB is?
Yeah.
NAB? Yeah, we're going. We're going to go.
Oh, yeah, we know. We talked about this.
Yeah. I completely forgot about it this year. And
I just forgot that it was in April.
I went to go buy tickets so I could go, and I realized, oh, shit, my wife's going to Portugal at the exact same time, so I can't go. Because I was going to last minute it and just run out. But next year I told the wife to block it off so that portion for NAB, we are going. It's going to be fun. And what's coming this year at NAB, this is why I want to go. There's some interesting stuff popping out. If you watch socials about NAB, Rode is making some more plays. And it looks like, this is not official, but in some of the photos that are floating around social media, there's a couple different types of Rodecasters that are coming out, and they're smaller. You've got more desk-savvy Rodecaster Pros. It looks like you have a medium, so small, large, extra large. Small, medium, large, extra large for the Rodecaster Pros. I don't know how many there are, but I think Rode's going to be the one to watch. And leave it up to them to do something like that, right? Like, they already own the podcasting audio end of things. Like, who do you recommend for the best quality podcast setup other than Rode? Like who? Tascam's way behind. Zoom's way behind. There's nobody that covers what Rode does. So, yeah. NAM's show's cool, too. It's on right now. NAM? I thought NAB was on. NAB is on right now. NAM is in January, isn't it? Anyways.
It's somewhere around. I forget. I always measure everything in its relation to CES, and now I forget when CES is.
I thought NAM was January. I could be wrong. But anyways, NAB show. I haven't been able to watch much of it. I know Rode's going to be making some moves. There's going to be a lot of gear. NAB is usually one of those shows where if anything's going to be announced for the year, like big, it will be there, even if it's like not coming till September. This is where, remember the Q2U when the Samsung Q2U was announced? I believe that was either NAM or NAB, and then it took like a year to come out after it was announced. So, yeah, I think this is going to be really interesting. I know Rode's doing some big stuff. I don't follow Blackmagic or Aperture much. I think it would be really cool to be there and to be able to talk to some of the vendors, to be able to talk to some of the retailers, because like my relationships that I've built up with a lot of the distributors and the companies have been all over email, and it would be nice to like sit back and chat with somebody from Rode and say, hey guys, I want to make sure I get a copy of this. Also, can I try it out right now, please? So I think that would be some interesting content. It would also be a lot of fun for Dylan and I, because we could go play blackjack after we're done.
Fucking right.
Yeah, there, buddy. We're going to play blackjack there, bud.
Remember how to do math. Remember you shooting for 21. Shooting for 21.
Andrew says, Hindenburg, why bother with hardware when it's the software that makes the podcast? I agree with you almost 100%, although it's hard to deny for somebody that has no idea what they're doing outside of basic editing. So let's say John Q decides to start a podcast, can probably pick up editing pretty easily and has no problem with that. But now you're asking him to do compression, you're asking him to do EQ, you're asking him to do all this stuff. Not only that, he has to get around trying to have mix minus on audio coming in, on sound effects, on full-on editing, when you can just get a Rodecaster Pro, load everything up into hotkeys, have your compression, have your EQ, have your DS. Do they have a de-esser? I believe it's a de-esser. Have all of that stuff on your Rodecaster Pro, and it's done. It comes out fully baked, and it sounds good. So it's really hard to like. Yes, I agree. A great podcast. Like if I started a podcast right now, I don't need a Rodecaster Pro. However, somebody that has no concept of treating audio, a Rodecaster Pro comes in real handy. Camille, Sound Devices MixPre is a nice podcast setup. MixPres are expensive, but I've never had hands-on with a MixPre. I think I need to get hands-on with a MixPre. I think that's my next thing. Sean says, if you simulcast, we still want to see the U.S. Super Bowl commercials. I live in Canada, man. I don't get to see the U.S. Super Bowl commercials, damn it. NAM, National Association of Music Merchants in Anaheim, CA. Oh, April 13th. Wow, Dan. Thanks for that, man. So somehow we're going to have to figure out NAM next year as well. This is something I really want to do as a content creator, is start getting to these shows. CES is great for computers. NAM and NAB are ours, though.
Nabba nabba.
When did the morning show, did you use the NT 27ND? When you did Red Cabin wants to know, when did I use the 27ND? I used it in Brockville 2015. Most morning shows are off of Electro Voice now, though. RE27s were in their heyday in the 2000s and up until about 2015, and then they started moving over to more Neumanns and stuff like that. My RE20 was the big one, though. Like, the 27 was usually for the show host, and then everyone else had an RE20 on the morning show. Only another Canadian would really understand simulcast program substitution anyways, right? Like, I grew up, so if you don't know, in Canada here, we get all of our American channels it's simulcast from another station. Depends on where you're living. If you live in Thunder Bay, where I grew up, we used to get Detroit stations. So we grew up with all the Detroit stations for NBC, ABC, CBS, and Fox. Those were all Detroit kind of shuttled in from there. So we saw a lot of horrible stuff through the 80s, just saying. But what they would do is they would simulcast, but then they would drop the American commercials and play Canadian commercials and local commercials. And it was always super sad, because you always wanted those American commercials, right? We had to see all the death and destruction from America. We wanted to see the commercials too. Yep. MixPre has 32-bit float, so no screwed up audio. You can say fucked up audio, Camille, unless you're against swearing. You can say it. There's a show in May in Berlin called Super Booth. Wish I could go to that one. Yeah, you know what? This year we're actually going to be in Europe in August, which kind of sucks. I would love to go to, but being an English speaker might be a problem. I'm not sure. That would be really cool, though. You could just use Rode Connect software and skip the Procaster expense as a podcasting starting point. Yeah, Andrew, that's a really good point. That new software, the Unify software by Rode, like, if you're just starting out, you buy one of the XCM50 or the XDM100, you buy one of those mics, and you have a Rodecaster Pro at your disposal. It's virtual, but it's basically a Rodecaster Pro. I don't know what, like, anyone complaining about the cost of audio, you could literally set up a full podcast, stream whatever you want with the purchase of one of those mics. And the mics aren't that expensive considering what you're getting. I don't know, man. Adele, is there a big difference between Rode NT1 5th and Rode 4th except for USB port? No, Adele. Actually, that's in the video. One of the most impactful parts of my Rode 5th gen video was side-by-siding the 4th and the 5th gen. And, like, you couldn't tell. There was no difference, which is actually kind of impressive considering all the crap they rammed in there with it. But the XLR, when you compare the XLR, even the USB of the 5th gen versus the 5th gen XLR, it's really hard. There's a slight differential. There's a slight difference between the USB and the XLR, but not enough to really be bothered. Like it's fascinating how close that 5th gen sounds to the 4th gen. And if you're wondering, they are still selling 4th gens, I think at a reduced price now. So you can still pick up a 4th gen if you don't need that USB. What a great fucking mic to have. I actually just gave Dylan my old 4th gen because it's like every studio should own one. That's one of those microphones. Sean says, one of my jobs is monitoring to make sure we get all our simulcasts. Yeah, that sounds like a fun job. I know it's probably not, but that sounds like a fun job.
That doesn't sound like a fun job. No.
It's in broadcast. It's got to be fun. You got all the donuts.
Dude, I used to work in engineering where we had to make sure that Burley always had all of its sources working all the time. And then when it wouldn't, like the news people would lose their minds.
Burley's not working.
Like Chicken Little, the sky is falling, or like, oh, the CTN traffic didn't come in at the right time. Oh no, like, oh my God. I mean, okay, like I am making fun of these, but they actually are pretty big problems.
Yeah.
In a radio station, but like, so when you tell me about monitoring simulcasts to make sure that they're coming in when they're like, no, that doesn't sound like a fun job.
You
that
sit and watch TV all day. You sit and watch TV all day. I'm kidding, Sean. It's probably, Sean says boring job. Red Cabin. Watching the Olympics in Canada or Europe is the best if you were a sports fan. I plan my vacations in Northern Ontario during the Olympic years. Nice. Northern Ontario. That's where I be from there, bud. Well, I'm from Northwestern Ontario, which is different from Northern Ontario. Camille, you can go to Berlin. Germans speak good English. A German accent has a reassuring effect. Then you know that the engineering is top notch. Yeah, just bought a Volkswagen Tiguan. Amen to that. Fantastic vehicles. Germany's. We're going this year. We're going to Scotland, Ireland, and England. I want Germany to be its own because I'm actually German descent. And I've always wanted to go back and kind of see where my bloodlines are from. I think that would be really cool. My wife went to Frankfurt for a little bit, fell asleep in the grass in a park and woke up a couple hours later, caught her flight. And I'm like, I want to go to Germany. Germany sounds like it'd be fun.
I think so.
Sean's from the Hammer. If you're not in Ontario, you don't know where the Hammer is. Hammer's cool. PreSonus came out with the IO24 interface and the Revelator mics. It's been a couple years. Might be about time for them to come out with a device to rake into the road. You know what? And this is why. So they came out with the IO44 recently. This is why I said Rode is untouched. Nobody is doing what Rode's doing with USB. And this is like, my God, we went from last year, me being pissed off in August of last year going, I'm not reviewing any more microphones for any USB mics. And now I'm like, oh yeah, give me the USB mics. Those are awesome. The stuff they're doing with USB microphones is exactly what people should have been doing. Instead of just carbon copying all these different mics, like AKG comes out with the Lyra and with what was the other one? The AKG Ara? Stop it. Yeah. Just innovate something, man. Put a scientist. See, one of the biggest, and this is what we ran into with the T-Bone microphone, is the differences you run into with microphones that are quote unquote mass produced with mass produced stuff in them. And that's what USBs were for a long time, is they were just like carbon copies. Get the same type of capsule from some company that has a capsule, just throw it in there, put a USB AD converter in there, and just put it out. You got it. You got yourself a microphone. You can go live. Nobody was actually going, how can we make this better? And then Rode comes along and Rode's like, oh, why don't we just offer them everything they need? Oh my God, what a concept. And yes, it sounds like I'm a big fan of Rode. It's because I like companies that actually put a little bit of research and development in their products. And Rode actually does. What an amazing turnaround for USB. Right? Like, oh my God. All it takes. So no, I don't think PreSonus is going to come anywhere near. I don't think anyone is. And that is just because Rode's already got miles on everyone else. Right? Like, they've already written the code. So what are you going to do? Are you going to come in and steal their thunder with something cheaper? You can't, because you have to spend the money on the research and development to
Yeah.
get there. That's one of the things. They had somebody come in and write the code, so they have Unify. Unify, what are you going to come up with a better solution? Unify is one of the best solutions I've seen for with onboard whatchamacallit, effects and stuff like the DSP on a USB microphone. How are you going to counter that? And then the best USB microphone that I've ever seen is the NT1. Like, well, go ahead, develop another microphone that's going to take on the NT1. Go ahead. But what I'm surprised, though, is that we haven't seen a response from somebody like Shure with an SM7B that has USB. Now you're talking about a microphone where it's like, oh, so you could have an SM7B that you can plug in with an XLR, and you can add all your compression. Like somebody like Shure could make a massive splash with an SM7B XLR USB microphone instead of the MV7. That would be awesome. SM7 USB. Yes, the SM7 USB. Rode Procaster with some Sennheiser's U87. Good beginner setup. Yes, exactly. Dylan looks like a curious pigeon right now. I know when he leans in, he does look quite curious. Oh, TechMed. Cheers, brother. Thanks for the love and support.
Reading Steph.
Yeah, Bearsford says, Rode watched that No More USB video and shows violence. And you know what? I know they watch my videos because they comment on them here and there. Every once in a while, they'll respond to somebody else. I forget who. Somebody mentioned that in the Discord the other day, and it was like Rode was responding to somebody, and it's like hilarious. And I'm like, yeah, they're watching, and they notice, right? Like I've when they sent me the original, what was that? The USB Mini or the Mini? What was that little? It's what they turned into the XCM50. The original microphone.
Oh yeah.
NT USB Mini.
Yeah, the NT USB Mini.
They sent me two of them, and I'm like, like it was just another USB microphone. I can't, like, it's okay, it's great, but there's nothing about it. And I kind of dragged the mic. They saw the video. And this is why I said, like, things of value. I know it's not going to piss Rode off. I mean, if I'm spreading falsehoods, yes, it'll piss Rode off. But if I'm calling a mic out for being what a mic is, and then Rode...
Just to respond to Dan, my conscious brain says I don't know what that's Focusrite owned Novation, but I don't know, that information sounds familiar for some reason. Like, I'm not as surprised by that as I feel like I should be. So I think somebody may have mentioned that to me in the past at some point. I did know that Focusrite owns a couple different organizations.
Yeah,
like they're quite the little business.
They're a massive business, Focusrite.
Yeah.
When you go, they have like Focusrite Consumer, Focusrite Corporate. Like whenever you see a company that has two different websites for
like a corporate,
yeah, they're big. Cheers again. Thanks, TechMed. Thanks for the love and support, brother. What are PU? What are PU? TechMed wants to know what are PU.
Polyurethane? I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of.
I don't. TechMed, blink twice if you're in trouble. It's like he just kind of fell over as soon as he was finished the PU. APU? I don't. Okay, TechMed, get back to us. Want to know what you mean. Rode tried to charge for their software, but that failed. See, I don't disagree with Rode charging for their software. They spent a lot of money on that software. They either have someone on their team that they pay a yearly wage to, and that yearly wage isn't probably minimum. They pay a full working wage for somebody to develop a program, to code that program, to get it to work with their onboard effects, their DSP. They've got all of that stuff. They spent a lot of money on that program.
Yeah, they don't just have to work on like hardware R&D. They have to dump money into like software maintenance.
And if you've ever
the software game, honestly, it's kind of a losing game. A lot of the time, unless you're Microsoft, you know, like, and even then, like, I don't know for what Microsoft is. Microsoft, what am I saying? They make a killing.
Yeah.
Every major corporation uses Microsoft's products, you know, across thousands of users. So yeah, they're not struggling.
Software developers are expensive. Like a good software developer that can create something that's user friendly, because they designed it, the UI, all themselves. They didn't steal from someone else. They designed a UI that I still feel is like Unify's awesome. It's really powerful. I find it a little clunky for myself. I'm not a streamer. I could be wrong about that, but everything's there. You just got to sit with it and learn the software. I don't think it's as intuitive as it could be, but that's also, it's going to come. But damn, like they paid somebody to do that. And then everyone's like, why isn't it free? It's because it costs a lot of money to get out there, and they want you to buy the friggin' mics. Because an XCM50 for $99 isn't enough to get that for free for some people. I want to use my other USB mics. And then they get complaining because they can't use the effects unless they have Rode's just hiding it behind a paywall. No, it's because they actually have a chip on the microphone that allows them to have... anyways. Rode's done good. Who loves the Quickie Mart? Springfield, hell of a town. What are your thoughts about the new Sennheiser Profile USB mic? They're going on a different path. No proprietary software. Everything is in the mic. I used one of their decent capsules. I want to try it. I saw it, and because I saw who reviewed. Was it Tom? Tom Buck?
Buck.
I believe it was him that reviewed it, and I saw it, and I'm like, oh, I kind of want to get my hands on it. But then kind of all hell broke loose with this channel on a few different fronts, and it kind of fell behind. I was getting mics from like Lawton Audio, and I picked this one up from Dylan, getting stuff finished. I will get to it, and I want to try it out, because if Tom says it sounds fantastic, I want to see that. We'll see. I don't really have somebody at Sennheiser, so I have to spend my own money on it, which is fine. But that usually puts it a little closer to the back of the list because it's not here yet, and I got to go online. So usually when I hit a bit of a dry spell on people sending me stuff, I'll go in and I'll purchase it and I'll do a review on it. So it's coming. It's not going to be top of my list right away. Beresford, software developers are expensive, and I'm starting a software dev job in September. Yeah, I mean, if you know how to code software, if you know how to develop software, you charge whatever the fuck you want, especially if you're good at it. And there's an artistry to it as well. I know a couple people that work in software development, and they're artists. When you're creating a user interface, and you know what you're doing, and you know how to make it flow, you know how to make it.
It's super creative. I had to do that for work. I had to develop like a custom solution to nationally manage creative tasks, and I used Access as an IDE for it as a development environment. And I probably dumped like 1,500 hours into that, all outside of work time.
And it still looked like it was done in Paint, right?
No.
Oh, no?
I did all the graphics in Illustrator and Photoshop. So every image that was in there had graphic assets.
Nice.
I came up with hot spots, and it had like Hot Wheels flames coming off it. It was so cheesy, but like it could connect to multiple computers. It had a standard database. It had obviously reports that you could generate that pulled from information in the database and manipulated different queries and like 7 or 8 layer query structures. Like it was an intense little application. And I mean, there's so much creative, like how to present information and how to present the fields to get information. There's a lot of art to that, and there's a lot of psychology to that too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not that nobody can just sit down and do it. You need to learn, but you also need to develop your creativity with it. It's like drawing.
And I mean, you've got companies now like Monday.com who are like leading in fact, like obviously for work, leading the Monday.com team, I've got a lot of interactions with that platform and that tool. But I realize they have a whole design infrastructure for their software under the hood. Like these guys not only have made a software that looks really good, they've made like an external tool for you to make things for the software that look good.
Yeah.
Like just crazy.
Yeah, no kidding. TechMed, no worries, brother. The broken comments are fine. It just adds a little bit of levity to the show. Beresford. Rick on Mike. The DSP chip in the XCM50 really carries a load with the processing. Sometimes when I use all the processing options in Unity with my video mic go-to, I get clicking on the mic audio. And you know what? I mean, it's a DSP chip, and it's probably a quad core, which is stupid to think about. Like, what is it, like not even 5 years ago, most of the computer chips were quad core.
Yeah.
And I know it's a quad core in the Rodecaster Pro 2. So yeah, it's gonna be it's hard to beat that. If you're another USB mic, how do you beat that? Like how? I don't get it. Andrew, writing code all day deserves an extra pay. Might be clean, but 40 years of typing code has got to get dull after a while, unless it's your jam. You know what? One of my buddies, our old engineer at the radio station I work at, Glenn, it is the one thing that gets him excited. When he knows he gets to code something. When we all shut down and went working from home for the radio station, within a week, he coded a full mixer, a virtual mixer for our radio station. Like he made it look nice, and he constantly updated it, which was annoying as a user because you're like, where did you put that button? But he would just like, no, it's better now. Don't worry. And he would spend hours because it was basically like painting for him.
Yeah.
It's painting with code. And he
Yeah.
like so excited, like almost like a child at Christmas. And yeah, it was probably his calling, but at the same time, it's also like, I guess it's like if you're an artist that likes to paint pictures, it's kind of the same deal, right? Like maybe if you're coding for Alphabet, it's
There's also something that feels really cool about it in the sense that like harness, and this is how I've always felt about it, but like harnessing a computer. Like I am making this computer do exactly what I want it to do right now. Like you have sort of mastered the machine in a way.
Yeah.
Like because most people just use the computer in the way that the people that make the computer intend for it to be used. There's obviously a subset of people that actually make the computer do things, like write instructions for the computer. I find there's something kind of gratifying about that too.
Yeah, there is. TechMed, Tom reviewed the Sennheiser profile. Bandrew's testing it, and some German friends are also testing it. I got it too, and I'm quite impressed. It's not one of those mediocre USB we got in the past. All right, you know what then? Fuck it. Let's go here. If it's on Amazon, I would really appreciate it if it was on Amazon.
Damn it, now I want freaking chicken.
Yeah, we do actually. I have a Saint Hubert about 2 blocks from my house.
We got Saint Hubert here, and it is la best.
Sennheiser profile USB mic. $161. Do they have it? I don't mind getting it from a company. But the problem is they charge me shipping. Like AV Shop has it. I guess I can just call them. Some of them, AV Shop is good. AV Shop doesn't charge me shipping, but some of them you got to have minimum $200 order. Well, that doesn't do me any bloody good.
Yeah, I've got a couple little stores.
Oh,
like that.
And they're like, more coming soon. Contact us for lead time. Yeah, free shipping on orders over $199. Bite me.
Nice.
No. Wonder if I can. I gotta find somebody at Sennheiser. I gotta get like a contact at Sennheiser. Like especially stuff like this, because like a USB microphone, great, but I'm never going to use it again. I don't mind spending the money on stuff to get a review out of the deal. But with a USB, I'm definitely never, like if I buy like this Spark, I bought the Blue Spark thinking that thing was trash and I'm not going to like it and it's just going to sit on my shelf. But I was like, you know what? I'll just purchase it. I don't know anyone at Blue. Loved it. And while it sits on my shelf, one day I might decide to pull it out and do some guitar work with it or something. With a USB mic that's really not there. However, I'll get it. $169. I can cover that. 169 Canadian.
Caballeros.
Steve, how's she going, buddy? But code is never really done. There's always one more bug or one more feature to add.
And honestly, music is like that too.
Yeah.
Like when I'm releasing a song, I'm like, I know if I go back to it tomorrow, I'm gonna have a different feeling about something. And so at a certain point, like at least with software, at least if you're in that type of a business, you can like release an update. I kind of sometimes wish you could do that with music.
Yeah, well, you can. I mean, Taylor Swift re-released her whole album.
Yeah, but it's such a rare thing in general. Like if people are buying your stuff on CDs, which nobody does anymore.
No.
But like I wish through Spotify I could just replace the old like same metadata, same everything. I'm just changing out the audio.
Yeah, see, I've learned at first when I started doing videos, despite them being absolute trash, because I didn't know what I was doing. I knew a bit, but I wasn't great at it. I would pore over the video for hours. I would watch it 20 times. It would take me like almost 20 hours to edit one video because that's what you have to do when you start. That's how you learn. But then it got to the point where I'm like, no, you have to let it go at some point.
Yeah, at some point you just gotta trust your gut and just say, all right, this is fine. This is
Yeah,
good. This is all right.
But then you pull back and you're like, okay, so I'm not gonna do as much, and then you pull back and you realize you made a mistake after it's uploaded. That's happened to me a couple times where I'm like, fuck. And I've got to like go in, take it down, fix a mistake, put it back up.
I've had it even worse songs where there's one little thing under the hood that bugs me.
Yeah.
And and it's it's not the greatest. Because then you listen to it, and every time you listen to it, it's just like rubbing it in your fucking face.
Yeah. No,
Right.
I hear that. All right, so we gotta go soon. I gotta go soon
too.
I'm going for Sri Lankan food, so that's gonna be fun. TechMed.
I got a hard cutoff at 6:10, so.
Okay, so we got 3 minutes. Okay, so TechMed says there are two versions, one with the profile only and one with quite a decent mount arm. I'll look into that. Sean, I like CDs. Many years ago when I worked at the small news, we used to have the ENG shooter edit their own story. They were just too committed to the footage, far too indecisive. Yeah. I've finally run out of maker pipe connectors. Got to order more. Dan, I got a ton. Okay, so just by the way, we have to do a mic reveal before you leave. These are the votes, by the way, Dylan. SM58, 32%. The XM8500, 32%. The E835 with only 27%. And the Beta 58A, for the longest time, most of this hour, was at 0.
Okay, so how many people is that, though? 9%, how many people?
22 votes. So 9% of 22 is 1.5. So it's 2 votes.
Okay, so I was one of them.
So one other person voted for the Beta 58A. Everyone was like SM58. And of all the people that voted for XM8500, come on.
And the problem is the disguising thing also helped mask the sound of the mic too. So it wasn't as bright as it is when it's just naked like this.
It sounds good, man. Yeah, that limiter though, man, you're right. It ain't set up for that mic.
No, I wish I could at least I wish there was. I know this again. This is for on-air hosts that don't know what they're doing. So
yeah,
this is why there are no switches on the front of it. But like, I wish that there was at least a gain knob. I know that completely defeats the purpose because that is one of the only things that you really don't want people touching.
Yeah, don't touch it.
But yeah, I wish that. But yeah, no, I got to find a way to get back into that freaking thing.
Dan said, "I just wanted to fuck with the poll." Thanks, Dan.
Well, Dan won.
Appreciate it. All right, guys. I'm out of here. Dylan's out of here. Have yourself a great week. Next week, this won't be happening, by the way, because I have to take my child, to synchronized swimming in Toronto. So I'm going to be in Toronto.
You just doxed yourself.
Well, no, just the GTA. I mean, if you can find me in the GTA, come on up and I'll sign your breast. Don't worry. Don't please. That's going to be awkward. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Have a great weekend, guys.
Ciao.